The Brewhouse was created to capture and share with you the long history of the Genesee Brewery. But the brewery itself isn't half as interesting as the beer and the people who make it. Visit GeneseeBrewhouse.com.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Rochester Press Box presented by the Genesee Brewhouse. We are at the Brewhouse this week and thrilled about it. A guy who's no stranger to this place, Carl Falk.
Nice place. You guys come here more often.
I came here Saturday with a buddy of mine. This place was packed. Brought him here for lunch.
Well, yeah, when you're not here, there's normally people inside.
If we didn't know,
Yeah.
that would be near impossible to identify
Well,
that jersey.
Here's the thing. I've been getting a lot of tweets and Facebook messages from people that watch the show saying that my jersey collection isn't all that good. So I had to pull out the American Basketball Association vintage referees jersey to shut all you people up. What up?
And it will because they wouldn't even know what the ABA is.
Oh, come on.
You haven't earned that.
And like
I'm insulted by that.
like it's the jersey collection that's not good.
Their first joke.
This is going to go on for the half hour.
Okay.
I do believe. Look, while we're on the subject of basketball, college basketball season opened this week. Boy, Duke made a statement right out of the gate. It's nice to have Syracuse back in, relevance again.
It's great to see what Syracuse has been building, and there's a lot of questions at the point guard with the injuries. Howard Washington playing, Jalen Carey playing, still waiting for Frank Howard to get there. So the lineup's a little jumbled. But this is a team last year that went to the Sweet 16 simply because they can play defense. You had Elijah Hughes, Buddy Boeheim can shoot it a little bit coming off the bench. Bring back Tyus Battle, who should be better. O'Shea Brissett should be better. This team could be very good.
It was the top two guys in minutes played all of last year, and I think three of the top five. No bench. But he proved he could do something with that team.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good team, and it is a rarity now in college basketball. A successful team, certainly late in the year, and then get into the tournament, where you bring these guys back, and they can play. I mean, Tyus Battle is an NBA-level player. I think he'll get some opportunities next year. He was looking to come out. O'Shea Brissett can really play. And then you mentioned the new guys. That's a rarity in college basketball. You're either a Duke, where you've brought in 3 All-Americans to start the year, or you're a team like this that I could see them doing damage. And I think maybe this is a year where Syracuse isn't a bubble team.
Yeah,
they're a tournament
says
team.
that he's comfortable going 10 deep. I don't think he's ever been able to say that.
Yeah,
ever.
With his son being 9,
Well,
that certainly helped.
That's what I can't wait to see, right? So his son starts the game against, Eastern Washington on Tuesday night. I am here all season to see Boeheim on Boeheim drama. Because let's face it, Boeheim does not hold back his emotions on anybody on that sideline. Now you have your son there, and you can say all you want, he's just another player. That ain't true. And if you're that hard on kids that you recruited whose parents are watching on national television, what's it going to be when your son blows that zone coverage, or your son passes up a shot that he should take, or your son puts the ball in the wrong spot? I can't wait to watch that meltdown on
That's
the sideline.
like youth sports all over again. Isn't that the thing? If your parent, if the coach's kid is on the team, you don't
They
want to
go
play
one
that
of two
position.
ways. Either they're too hard on them or too easy on them. But Buddy Boeheim, he can shoot. He's not there because he's a coach's kid. He's there because he's a good D1 basketball player.
And what an interesting dynamic based on the life of Jim Boeheim, that you're 50 years at the school, you're a Hall of Famer, you've won the national championship, and now you get to coach your son. Which
He held out long enough.
I guess.
How good is Duke?
Fantastic. 3 top freshmen in the country coming in. And Zion Williamson, who, if you are on social media, you've seen this kid for about 3 or 4. He's 6'7", 285 as a freshman. What's he going to be like when he fills out? This kid
fills out. How much out more than you fill?
He fills out in college. It's just crazy to think he's so athletic, and he might be the 3rd best freshman on the team. Reddish and Barrett are both great as well. It's funny. Coach K, the guy who always did it, the 4-year players, now he's the 2nd best one-and-done coach in college basketball.
Yeah, so look, college basketball has been in a bit of a lull. I think that's safe to say. How significant is it that we have like now a Golden State Warriors type team in the game?
I mean, it has to help based on the NBA ratings and things like that. You think it would destroy it, but listen, let's be real. The casual basketball fan doesn't care about NCAA basketball until March. Well, now we have this all-star team, Harlem Globetrotter-esque Fab Four guys traveling the thing. And to your point about Williamson, right? Like Zion Williamson, I watched him play on social media, watched a couple of his games on ESPN, and he was a chubby kid. He shows up on Tuesday night against kid. He's cut, and it's only been like 4 months. He's unstoppable, Bill. The kid's unstoppable.
And he says he's not the best player on the team.
How?
Can we just say it's a little early?
Oh
to be
my
calling
God!
the Golden State Warriors?
Hate it. I'm Mike Catalana. I hate fun.
I'm saying as the next thing you know, some idiot will be saying they could beat an NBA team.
Yeah, and someone will. And they come in, they were ranked 4th. That wasn't even supposed to be the best team in the country. This is the Rochester Press Box, where we are at the Genesee Brewhouse. We talk Buffalo Bills next.
The Press Box is brought to you in part by Bay & Goodman Pizza, a local Rochester favorite. Corner of North Winton and Browncroft, Bay & Goodman Pizza.
Welcome back to the Rochester Press Box. We are at the Genesee Brewhouse talking Buffalo Bills. Mike, I'm like at a loss. It's so historically bad offensively.
Yeah.
Is there anything we can look forward to?
A totally new offense next year. How's that?
Hey, I got season tickets. How about before that?
Not going to happen. Not offensively.
Can you shorten for him? Can
No,
you shorten
and
the time
I
span?
think the only thing we can look forward to, and look, and as we're taping this, Josh Allen's out on the practice field. That's what I'm looking forward to. I think most fans are, when he's back, to see him play. He needs to play. He needs to get snaps. I'm not worried about results. I'm worried about him getting more time, seeing defenses, and playing, which he needs to be on the field. Otherwise, when he does take the field next year, he's going to have a different set of wide receivers, new offensive linemen. He'll have new players in the backfield. Who knows about the system itself? So I want to see him get some snaps, but otherwise, hey, it's a record-setting offense. How about that?
Like, you have been wrong so many times about so many things, but this is the most wrong you've ever been.
You don't want Allen to play?
No, I don't, and here's why. One, we don't know the extent of this injury.
Oh.
Two, this coaching staff is dumb enough, and you know I'm right, where they would rush him back to try and save face on the decision they made with Peterman. Three, you brought it up yourself. You're not going to be playing with any of these wide receivers, probably not this running back. You're going to have a brand new offensive coordinator. So what is the point of playing with these guys? It's almost like you're sending them out there strictly to risk further injury. Shut them down, sit them down. I don't care if you got to play Peterman the rest of the season. Don't make the same mistake twice. It's not like they've done that with somebody else before, right, Mike?
Carl, what do you think?
After the bye week, I'm okay with Josh Allen coming back, but do not rush the kid back, to your point. To your point, he does need snaps. The one thing, I have zero confidence in this group finding new offensive players who are good. You look at what they've brought in. Deion Dawkins right now is one of the worst left tackles in football. He just has regressed horribly. Zay Jones might be a good number 3 wide receiver. Calvin Benjamin's a disaster. Those are 3 guys they gave up significant draft capital to get, let alone Josh Allen, who's the biggest mystery of all. Now this season, they've got 10 draft picks, most of which are in the late rounds, a whole bunch of cap money, and they're going to fix the offense. I'll believe it when I see it.
So looking longer term, how much can you legitimately expect to be able to fix in any given offseason?
I don't think a whole lot, because frankly, they need 4 new offensive linemen. If you're going to keep Deion Dawkins, the other 4 are completely expendable. There's not one guy that I would look to keep up there. So that's 4 new offensive linemen. You need at least 2 wide receivers. I didn't even get to Charles Clay and the albatross that he's become. Shady McCoy might have some juice left. I don't see one off season fixing this to an even respectable level.
I think you have to look to a team like the one they just played in the Bears, who their quarterback had been injured, banged up, came back, played with a set of wide receivers. Most of them were gone. They made changes on the O-line. They made changes at wide receiver.
But the biggest change was in the coach.
Well, that is the next
There you
step.
go.
They went with an offensive head coach.
Is changing the coach part of McDermott's process? Because I remember you talking about that earlier, and you haven't really said it much in the last couple of weeks.
He's got at least another full year after this, don't you think?
I would think so. We had this discussion in the break room the other day. I would think so, but things have gotten so bad, so very, very bad.
To your point, that's exactly what it is. And I do believe that obviously McDermott, Bean, and certainly the Pagulas were aware of a step back, but this was not a step back offensively. This was a quantum leap back.
He's falling down. That's how far back the step is.
Pick it up.
Yeah.
Right. What they're going to need to do is make a lot of those changes. And offensively, at the moment, you can look at Allen, but I think it's going to be almost all different next year.
All right, let's play the game. 7.5 is the line. The Bills at the Jets.
I don't think the Jets should be given 7.5 points to anybody, but I said that about the Bears the week before, and I picked them to cover. I just think the Bills' defense will play well enough to keep it close. The Jets' offense has been really bad, too. These are two decent defenses to good with two really bad offenses. I'll say the Bills stay close, but I don't think they're going to win the game.
Another game?
I'm going to end up taking, I shouldn't do this, but I'm going to take Kansas City given all the points this week.
Ooh.
At 16.5 points, I would never normally do that.
Cardinals
I think
on the
they're
road.
ready to load it up on somebody, and the Cardinals can't score.
All righty, I'll take the Jets. It's just an atrocious game. I'm sorry. I'll take the Bills to cover that. I like the Seahawks getting 10 at the Rams. Who do you got?
I think the Bills are in such a bad spot right now. They don't cover 7.5, 8, whatever it is against the Jets. You can make it 10. I would still take the Jets to cover that. And to your Chiefs-Cardinals point, upset of the weekend. Opposite. Going the opposite.
You think they're going to win the game?
Not win,
Oh.
but they will cover the 16.5 points. They will absolutely cover the 16.5. This will be the holy crap. Are the Chiefs really mid-season? Are we the team they thought they are? Cardinals cover the 16.5.
Wrap it up for us.
I can't see the Bills covering against anybody. 7.5's a lot. The Jets aren't a good team, but the Bills offensively, if they score 10 points, there's going to be a big party in Buffalo. So I don't see them covering that. As for the other game, I'll take the Chargers giving 10 to the Raiders. The Raiders just seem to have quit on John Gruden. They haven't kept a game within 10 points since week 3.
Quickly, who's worse, the Raiders or the Bills?
The Raiders have quit. The Bills are still playing hard.
This is the Rochester Press Box, presented by the Genesee Brew House. We're at the Brew House. Like it or not is next.
Here's the Press Box trivia question, brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390. Here's the Press Box trivia answer, brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390.
Welcome back to the Genesee Brew House. This is the Rochester Press Box. This is Like It or Not. Like It or Not, the division-leading Rochester Americans.
Oh, this is awesome. Well, I mean, it's awesome for right now, right? Because you got guys that are playing great in Rochester. Your Redmonds, your Golifsons. All right, but if things continue to go the way they are in Buffalo, defensively and on your bottom end of the offense, there's a pretty good chance within the next couple of weeks you're going to lose the guys that are playing well for you, Nylander, Olofsson, Redmond, maybe even Gooley. Enjoy it now. Hope that they have a commitment to the farm team and let these guys cook for a while. And fingers crossed that Chris Taylor, the head coach, keep doing things right. I mean, you see what I see, right?
And it is different, at least this part, because they've had success in Buffalo, certainly relative to what they've had before, that a guy like Olofsson, Player of the Month, dominating in the American Hockey League.
That shot, Mike!
He's great.
From everywhere!
Yeah, and they're still with the Amherst, being the point that they have played well enough to get called up, and in past years they would have been up, and they're not doing it now.
Go see him soon, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're going to have talent in Rochester for the whole season. It's a matter of how many of those guys go up, and then what their role is when they go up to Buffalo. Are they going up there because there's a few injuries? Are they going up there because they're going to get their look for 10 or 12 games? Right now, they're staying in Rochester.
Carl, like it or not, your general manager says that Tim Tebow might make the Mets opening day Major League roster.
Hate it. Look, Tim Tebow's a great story, and I give him a lot of credit because he works hard at his craft. But he's not a Major League Baseball player. He's a guy who runs into one every now and then. The biggest thing he has, God has given him a flair for the dramatic. He's hit home runs at key times, and it's put the spotlight on.
He saved a man's life. He laid hands on him as he was having a seizure and brought him back to life. Let's not forget that story.
My bad.
That happened. Thank you.
Apologies. Let's face it, the one thing the Mets might have a little bit of depth at, and they don't have much, is outfield help. And they don't need a guy who's going to strike out 200 times and maybe hit 15 home runs and play a bad
Don't you think
outfield.
organizationally it makes them look bad?
Yes, but put him in Syracuse and all of a sudden everyone goes to the game.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing. We might get to see him here at Frontier.
Mike, Syracuse football, like it or not.
Well, I like what Dino Babers has done. I like that they're relevant, and it has been a long time since they've been that way. And you know when a team is better, now again, there's a big step in college football. Are you good? Are you national championship good? Which obviously they're not. Is when they lose a game or don't play well and people are disappointed. And I think that's great. And back to the hockey part, it's the same kind of thing we've seen with the Sabres now, where they lose a game or they give up a goal and you're disappointed because they should have won. Syracuse has done that. They had a big opponent in Clemson they should have beaten or could have, and then they lost that Pitt game. But other than that, when they've needed to come through, they have, and I think it's impressive.
If they split the BC and Notre Dame games, I think they're playing New Year's Day.
And that's something. Who would ever thought? And you know what? Pay the man, keep him here as the head coach. Yeah. Make Syracuse the place that you can get paid and stay. There's enough money at that university. If he wants to stay, pay him.
This is the Rochester Press Box from the Genesee Brewhouse. Unfinished Business is next.
And now here's this week's MVP Experience Stat of the Week, brought to you by Sport Clips, where it's good to be a guy. No appointment ever needed.
And now to Eichel. He floated one. Bacon, egg, cheese. Only one way to make this better. Another one. Dunkin' Go-Tos. Get 2 bacon, egg, and cheese sandwiches for $5. America runs on Dunkin'.
Welcome back to the Rochester Press Box from the mighty Genesee Brewhouse. Unfinished Business brought to you by Dunkin' Donuts. America runs on Dunkin'. Pat.
Mike was just talking about Dino Babers at Syracuse, and the big question, with all this success, 13th in the country, how great the program's gotten over the last couple of years, when is Dino Babers leaving? I've been getting in an argument every week at Bill's Tailgates with my buddy Jimmy about this, because he's convinced that Babers is gone. But here's the thing. Syracuse is in a very unique position. They've been a very bad football team for a long time. But they also have a lot of money to spend. They're not bad because they don't spend on resources. They're bad because they've just picked bad head coaches. If Syracuse wanted to, like Mike just said, they could open up the checkbook and make Dino stay. Now, normally, these are small schools from weird places that have to do that to make their coaches stay. But Syracuse isn't that either. If Dino Babers wanted to, he could own the state of New York in recruiting. And there are some great players coming out of Rochester, Buffalo, Syracuse, Albany, places like that. They could all be his. On top of that, the legend that you could become at Syracuse University. Boeheim is not much longer for that college, right? You could be the face of a college. You could be that guy for the rest of your career in a conference that isn't all that fantastic and unstoppable. I mean, for Clemson, for goodness sake, they seem to have their number, and you get them a couple of times, you're in the ACC championship game on a consistent basis. I think that Syracuse will do the right thing and pay Dino Babers. And based on what I know about Coach Babers, he's the kind of guy that wants to take that money, settle in, and make that program his own. And that would be a great thing.
Well, at the beginning of the year, I would have thought that was impossible.
That him staying?
Both with a good team. It's just like they seem to be working against each other.
I mean, listen, I could be completely wrong, but it feels like this will be a happy ending for both parties.
That'd be awesome. Carl.
We talked about college basketball earlier, and Section 5 has produced a tremendous amount of Division I talent, maybe more so than I've ever seen. Quentin Rose at Temple's an NBA prospect. 2 kids at UB, Dante Crothers and Janathan Williams, are going to lead them to the tournament. Same for Anthony Lamb at Vermont. And the best is yet to come with a former Section 5 guy, Isaiah Stewart, who's going to be a top 10 recruit this year out of a prep school in California. Section 5 has never, in my memory, produced such elite talent. Oh, I forgot one. Isaiah Carter out at Washington. It's a great thing to see. Makes it a lot of fun with basketball season starting up.
Hugh Jackson got fired, which should have happened with the Cleveland Browns, and he was interviewed the other day. And they asked him, did you ever go back to Oklahoma, maybe make a call, make a trip, and go talk to Lincoln Riley and say, what is Baker Mayfield like? What are the ways I can make this offense work? He said, no. His reasoning was, I had video of all those plays, and I could go pick out the ones I liked and then make it work. Now, I'm not saying just because you go talk to the college coach, that makes everything work. But it comes across as a bit arrogant and lazy, which is maybe part of the reason why he's out the door. And I bring this up because the head coach with his quarterback is such an important dynamic. We've seen failures before. We're going to see them in the future. I think a lot of these coaches are in trouble. And to the point we made early in the year, it won't be Sean McDermott. individually working with his quarterback, Josh Allen, but he better have some control, and he better have the right person, whether it's Brian Daboll or somebody else in place, because the quarterback can sometimes run the franchise, especially if the head coach isn't doing his homework.
Which is harder to get advanced evaluation on, the quarterback or the head coach?
That's pretty interesting to say. I think a head coach can be a little more adaptable, or should be a little more adaptable, and you should be able to do the things, especially early in a guy's career, that work as well for the quarterback, right? Even if it doesn't always work perfectly in the NFL, get the guy comfortable, get him some success, and then transform the way he plays the game. And I think it should work a little bit better with the quarterback.
This is the Rochester Press Box from the Genesee Brewhouse. Unfinished Business brought to you by Dunkin' Donuts. America runs on Dunkin'. Carl, great to have you back.
Thanks. Appreciate you having me.
Guys, as always.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week with the Rochester Press Box.